Yo, what's up? So basically in this Blender tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys an in-depth Blender tutorial, basic, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be super basic, kind of in-depth and broad. It's going to just teach you the basics of Blender, how to move things, how to pose and stiff, how to change color, render, lighting, all this good stuff, but super simplified. And I'll walk you through it step by step. Yeah, if you guys are trying to learn GFX, you've come to the right place because I'm gonna be teaching you. So let's start off. You're gonna want to click the link in the description, and it's gonna bring you to something like this. Maybe thinking like, what am I gonna do with this? So basically, these are models. Blender has a specific model type that it uses, which is a .tga file. And so if you're trying to take a random PNG photo off of the internet and put it in Blender, it's not gonna work. It has to be a specific file. And what you're going to want to do is head over to character models. These other ones are self-explanatory, like pickaxe models, prop models, weapon, screenshot. That's just backgrounds. Fortnite effects like Rift to Go, fire, snow, water, whatever you. And you're going to want to go to character models. And this has about every skin in the game. I know some that aren't, but there's a lot. So these are all in alphabetical order. And let's just start off with the aura. Aura is going to be right here. Starts with an A, so it's going to be at the top of your screen. You just want to click that, hit download, and then it should say open. You can save it if you like, but just hit open. And then once it's all done, it should look something like this. Now, you may be thinking, like, why is this skin gray? Why are there black lines? Like, I'm so confused. I'm going to teach you, like, the general aspect, and then I'll talk about the character. So, at the top right of your screen, you have the Z, X, Y. This is basically to look around. It's pretty good. I mean, it's to look around mainly. But yeah, that's about it. And then this is the zoom and out. I mean, you either get to zoom out or zoom in, whichever you prefer. And this right here is the move tool. So basically, it's your character or your viewpoint stays the same, but you're able to move left or right. I just lost my character. Okay, there we go. And then the third one is actually a camera. I'll get a little bit into that later. And this fourth one, to be honest, I'm not even sure really. I guess I have no idea. Don't worry about that. So let's start off with the top here. So this basically right here is going to be show overlays. Overlays are these black lines, and basically these black lines are called bones. I'll get a little bit more in depth about that later on in the video, but if you just want to click that off and on, you can actually see like the skin itself without it, so you can actually get a precise like location on where you want the skin to be. And if you go to the right, don't worry about this, just leave it how is. And then if you go to the right, you're gonna have these four circles. The first one is that's I don't even really use that. Second one you don't really have to worry about, and the third one is where your skin color, skin jersey, whatever is gonna come in play. So you want to keep that on this until you render, and I'll show you guys how to render and add lighting at the very end. So once you have this, it's gonna look it's gonna look exactly like this. And basically what that does, it just shows colors and things and such like that. And what you're gonna want to do is look at the left of your screen. You have these different options. So we're just gonna focus on the main two right now, and that's gonna be move and rotate. If you want to turn your overlays on, that's at the top right of your screen. If you hover, it says show overlays where you can see the bones. You're going to want to click the bones so they turn orange, hit your move tool, and move around. And this is just easy way, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's to move. And then the rotate, I mean, if you zoom out, you'll see this thing. And basically what each arrow does is it rotates it a specific way locked on. So the green one moves side to side, depending on how your angle is. The red one moves back and forward, depending on how your angle is. And blue moves left to right. And the white is in an angle. So if you see, it's kind of going in an angle, but it's a more in an angle because I shift positioning. Same thing for move. It's gonna be like this and boom, boom. And if you don't click anything, like let's say you're up here, it's a free to move. So basically, you can move it wherever you want. And same thing with rotate. If you click it not on the lines, it's a free rotate. So you can move it wherever you'd like. Alright, let me just revert these. Alright, now let's talk about the orange lines. So basically, these are called bones. What bones are, I mean, as in your body, you have bones that can move and whatnot. So in order for these to actually activate, at the top left of your screen, you're going to see object mode. You're going to want to put that to pose mode. And basically what that does is you can literally pose it. So basically, you just want to, you go back to your rotate tool. And then click one of these gray bones. And basically, just mess around with it for a bit. We're just going to do a little posing. And what that basically means is actually posing the character. So like moving the arms, moving the fingers, legs, spine, eyelids, eyebrows, whatever, lips. That's basically posing. So you want to make it as realistic as possible. For example, the shoulder can't bend this far back, and the like spine can't bend this far. Actually, you probably can this far backwards. Your leg can't bend this far up, and then etc. And then, so what you want to do is kind of just mess around with this, get a feel for it. You know, kind of use your lines, kind of make something. So I'm just gonna do a little something simple, like maybe waving. And then we're just going to put that at the side, like so. Then boom, we just got a little something right here, you know, waving at the camera. And yeah, that's going to be, this is posing. That's literally all it does is you can pose things, move, rotate. And the move tool, you can like move things. And let me talk about the green arrows. So the gray represent bones, as in like shoulder bones, spine bones, elbow bones, things like that. And the green represent ligaments. Basically, what that means is like this ligament right here, the green arrow right here is going to move your bicep and only your bicep. This green one right here is going to move her little bracelet. And let's see, this one's going to move her hair, the tip of her hair, and so on and so on. So basically, the main ones are green and gray. Like, green are more for the face, so you can like move her mouth up and such, but you don't have to worry about that. Just kind of get a feel for it, mess around with it. And if you want to go hit pose mode, go back to object mode. What object mode gives you is an add, or shortcut is Shift A. What that's gonna do is you're allowed to add all these different things, but we're just gonna focus on 2 right now. So the first one that we're going to add is a camera. So what that does is, so whatever's in the camera is going to be whatever you render. So that the middle right of your screen, where, remember in the back how I was like, just we'll figure this later? Well, now's the time that we're actually going to talk about this. So what this is, if you click on it, it says toggle the camera view. You're going to want to click on that, and it'll go somewhere relatively probably near her or on her. And if you move, it'll actually show you the like correct positioning. Right now it's in her foot. So the model's really big compared to that tiny little camera, and if you zoom out too much, the camera disappears. And if this ever happens to you, that means your character's too big. And the way to fix this is you want to highlight the bones, turn the scale to 0.011. Control C that. Whoops, I put a comma. So period 011. Control C and paste it in the scale Y and scale Z. Hit that camera view. So the location XYZ, that means where the location is of the camera. Actually, we have this skin on. So basically, wherever this camera is, so if we go this way, it's going to move the camera to the left. If we go the opposite way, it's going to move it to the right. If we go this way, it's going to go up. If we go this way, it's going to go down. Scale doesn't do anything to the camera, but the rotation, like you can move in the 90 degrees, 360 degrees. What you're going to want to do is change the rotation X to 90, rotation Y and Z to 0, location X, Y, Z all to 0. And now this should get you somewhere close to your character. If it's not, just zoom out, find your character, and change the X location, Y location, and Z location to 0. Boom. And then you want to head back to your camera view and just use the location Y to just zoom out. And then you want to go relatively far, like negative 4.51 is what I'm at. I may move a little bit closer to like a 2, or like a 2.87. And then I'm going to use location Z, and I'm going to put it at a positive so it goes up. And then location X, you can use this, I mean, it just goes side to side. So if you want it like the edge, you could do that, or at the other edge, or straight in the middle, which will be 0. And now for the camera, you can do like rotation Y is for like twisting. So you can turn the camera, you can turn camera left to right, and you can turn camera up and down. So yeah, 90 degrees is just, you know, straight at the character. So that's what we're going to work with right now. So now that we have all of this set up, you're going to want to check out at the so right now we're in the orange object properties. You're going to want to go into render properties, which is this little television. And basically what that does is what you're going to render at. So like I said in the beginning, you're going to want to make sure that this is at cycles, and you're going to want to then change it to GPU. And then what the render does, this right here, you're going to want to turn that to around 500, or around like 700 actually, but for the sake of the video, to make it render quick, I'm only going to render it at like 30. It's going to render at terrible quality, but the higher the render is, the better quality it is. Now let's move on to lighting. So for lighting, you're going to want to hit either Shift A, go to Mesh Plane. Basically, what a plane is, it's literally, where is it? I don't know why it's super high up. Let me change all the location to 0. Boom. There we go. And basically, all this is it's a literal plane. And this is a source for lighting. And so what you're going to want to do is make sure all the rotations are on 0, but 2. So you actually want to take your rotate tool, hit the square or the plane once, go to, the side view, so to where the red is facing like front or back. You're going to want to put the red forward, so it's right up on the character. It doesn't have to be precisely like 90, like slanted is fine. And then you're going to take the blue, go from a bird's eye, or right on top, take the blue and just turn it in an angle. Take the rotate or the move tool and just move it out. This is really good for beginner lighting because it will give it a natural lighting base. And you don't really have to change the size. In this case, we're not. And then what you're going to want to do is Shift D. What that will do is duplicate. You don't want to move it because then the plane will move with it. So you want to click and then move. Make sure you have the move tool and then just drag it over. And then boom. It's fine if it's covering the skin. Like this right here, it's perfectly fine. What we're actually going to do is now head over to shading. So right now we're in layout. At the very top of your screen, you have shading. You're just going to click that. And then you may be quite far, so just hit your camera view and boom. And now what you're going to want to do is click one of your planes and hit new. And then you're going to have this thing called Principled BSDF. What that is basically just color. Like, you don't really, this is mainly for skins. You don't ever use this on a plane. So you just want to click it, right click, delete. And then that'll change the color to black. If not, then you just want to make sure that you deleted it. And then same thing for the other. Okay, now that we have both of them black, you're going to want to hit Shift A again and search up EM and then look for emissions. And then once you have this, you're going to want to click and drag the little green dot to the surface of material output and change the strength to around, I prefer like a 6. And what this does is basically the strength of how bright this thing's going to be. So, and then you just want to do the same thing to the other. Boom, and then like a 6. Perfect. Now that they're both white and bright, you're going to want to go to your little orange square where you can change like the transformation, so location, scale, etc. Go down to where it says visibility, click there, find where it says ray visibility, and if it's already open, perfect, and then hit uncheck camera. Basically, what that does is whenever you're rendering it, it will not show in camera, so it'll be almost transparent. And then you want to do the same thing for the other. And then you're going to want to go to the very television looking thing, render properties, where you can change it from cycles to Eevee or whatever. And then you're going to want to go to film and then hit transparent. And this does do it for both. It does it for all of them, actually, depending on how many you have. And then, boom, we just did our lighting. Now, in order for this to actually work, just turn off your show overlays, and then go back to camera view, and then you're going to want to go to the top right circle, the view. This is going to be the rendered viewpoint shading, and this is going to be the fourth last one. What this is going to do is going to show you lighting and it's going to show you how it is. So boom, that looks pretty nice. And you can always change, like, here, let me go back to this. You can always change the brightness from the emissions. So basically, right now we have this one selected. If I change this to, like, let's say a 16 or 17, it's going to come brighter. And if I change it to maybe like 100, it's going to be really bright. So depending on how you feel, like an 8 is good. Like, you don't want to make it white too bright. You want to keep it kind of low. And that's about it. And then to render this completely, what you're going to want to do is hit F12. And that's it. And it'll render pretty quick because I rendered it on a super low setting. So the quality is going to be not as crisp as you've rendered at like a 700. So, yeah, this is about it. And you may be asking, like, why is the finger like this? Like, why is it darker than the others? And if we go back here, it's because this thing, the mesh, it's actually leaving a little bit of the hand out. So if you ever encounter this problem, you just want to take it, move it out, and re-render it. And then boom, it looks good again. That's about it. If you guys want me to go into like an in-depth description about Eevee, Photoshop, anything, just let me know in the comment sections below. And yeah, if you guys have any comments or questions, please let me know in the comments section below also. Thank you and peace.